Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Welcome back to Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. Well, AVCOM has been in existence since 1980. Now, 43 years later, the family business is seeking to expand internationally and to double its turnover to €12.5 million. Paul Murphy, the Managing Director of AVCOM, joins us now to discuss the evolution of the company. Paul, maybe start by talking to us about how you developed your skills within the family business.
Good morning, Karl, and thanks for having me. Like a lot of people who grow up around family businesses, my life was very much intertwined with the family business. So in my younger years, teenage years, looking for a bit of money on the side, I used to go out and help my dad deliver and set up audiovisual equipment all around Dublin and the southeast of Ireland. So that's really where I got my first hook into the business. Then I went on different projects with my dad as well, as wide as far as a bit of horticulture around his first office block up in Sandyford Bus Estate, where we used to collect monies out of all the tenants in that office block and then did the landscaping all around their gardens. And then all the way through to full technician work with AVCOM live in their events before I made the commitment way back in 1997, I think it was, where I became a full-time employee of AVCOM.
Now, the company itself was established by your father, Tony Murphy, in 1980 to design and produce corporate events. But in your opinion, what has been the key to the company's longevity?
Well, first of all, it comes from the entrepreneurial vision and success of my dad in 1980 onwards. He set up a company in one of the hardest recessions that Ireland had experienced. So it was his endeavour, his ability to work hard and his customer relationships set the foundations for AVCOM's success. It was his planning and him investing in people around him that led to the longevity success of AVCOM, to the point in his succession planning in handing it over for me to run in 2009 and the board of directors that came through the company. Is his success has always been the people and the opportunities and the investment in those people that has given us the longevity, where we have a good few of our employees and director stroke owners who have over 25 plus years experience of working in the business.
And talk to us about a typical project that would be run by AVCOM.
Well, ultimately we would have a mixture of two types of projects. One would be repeat projects stroke repeat customers who come back to us time and time again to look after their meetings and events, or a completely new customer. And a lot of those cases would come from an international event planner. So they would approach AVCOM with their event vision and or just their simple plan to it. So we would go on a discovery call with these clients, and maybe they may have a team of experts on their side as well. But we'd bring in a sales relationship manager, we'd bring a design expert and a production expert that will, first of all, in the discovery call, is listen to the client, listen to the vision of their event, and then we would take it on board. We would brainstorm back here in the office. We'll have an idea, and then we'll pitch either 1 to 3 proposals. We're trying to go for 3 proposals mostly to give a flavour of how far-reaching our ideas and technical capabilities are, while staying true to the client's budgets. And we try and let the client pick the path that they would like to go down with their event. And once we get commitment from the client, then we'll perfect the design, we'll perfect the technical production in advance of the event day itself, because ultimately is our aim is to be stress-free on the event day for our clients and our own internal teams. So it's all about our processes, our pre-planning and expertise in advance of the event date to try and make the delivery of the event seamless for all stakeholders who are involved in that event.
And Paul, how did you adapt the business during the pandemic?
We didn't have a choice, to be honest, Karl. So this is where the great professionalism, innovation and ambition of my crew really came to the fore. We were tested to our extreme limits of when the Taoiseach stood in the steps of Washington that day in March and effectively closed down our business, that we had to reinvent ourselves and pivot the business from a core of live event business through to the fully virtual world. Now, luckily enough, we've had experience of this. If you remember, technology called video conferencing is basically what everybody calls a virtual event now, when it was streaming events across which was then ISDN telephones and obviously is now broadband. But ultimately what we did was we became, first of all, educators to our clients to tell them, look, you can do this. We approached some of our key big clients here in AVCOM or here in Dublin to venues, Croke Park Meetings and Events out there in Croke Park Stadium and the Clayton Hotel, Burlington Road. And we informed them of this product and solution to bring the events fully online, which was against their DNA because, like us, it was all about the in-person experience and hospitality. Yet we said to them is what we're doing here is providing a service to your clients. So rather than saying, taking phone calls going, we're going to have to postpone again because of restrictions, is they came with an offer for their clients to still communicate to their audience via virtual medium. We built purpose-built studios in both of those properties where the clients came when it was safe to do so and present virtually to their audience, whether it be their own staff or whether it be stakeholders or potential customers. So they hosted that in their properties and still remained open for their clients, which proved very valuable for them because their clients came back to them time and time again when live in-person events came into place and trusted them as a great event partner, and obviously have replicated that service for the fully in-person event, or has given them confidence to go hybrid as well, which means both communicating to your in-house audience and also communicating to your online audience.
And in the immediate aftermath of the pandemic, the appetite for hybrid events was particularly strong. Is this still the case, or are more and more of your clients reverting to traditional face-to-face style events?
It's a bit of both, to be honest. The online communication is still to the forefront, I suppose, with sustainability and everybody conscious of our carbon footprints and what we can do for the environment. The actual acceleration of virtual events because of COVID has had a lasting effect in the event industry, where people are still communicating fully virtual. Of course, you're never going to stop the in-person experience because that's where the real fun is, that's where the real connections are made. So in-person events are happening and came back really, really strong towards the end of 2022 after the restrictions. But nowadays people are looking at, well, what events need to be in person, what events need to be fully virtual, and what events need to be hybrid. AVCOM recently conducted a report at the end of 2022 and launched in 2023, asking event attendees what they wanted with regards to future of events. And ultimately they came back with is they wanted choice. They want a choice whether they want to attend in person, attend online, or even go as far as watch it on playback, a little bit like your television streaming services now is watch on demand when it suits their schedule.
I would imagine that as technology has advanced, the production elements have evolved significantly in recent years. Can you provide us with an insight into the level of technology which is being used by the company today and where you see that going over the coming years?
Yes, you're right. Is obviously in the industry I'm in, technology is always evolving and we're always innovating. But ultimately is what the event planner wants and the event attendee wants is a very immersive experience. So gone are the days that you can just get up on stage, stand behind a lectern and give a PowerPoint presentation. That's not very engaging anymore. So there's two elements to that. One thing that the virtual productions in the pandemic time showed us is the quality of a production where we are producing events that are up there at TV standards. So when you go back into the room again, people are still expecting those standards. So that all involves with the connection with the audience and what type of technology like augmented reality experiences, client engagement tools, and ultimately the production itself. What technology are you using? Are you using multimedia backdrop and screens that have changing graphics to reflect either A, the content, B, the presenter, or C, the environment that they're trying to create in that room? But ultimately, technology is front and center of events now because it is really helping to make event experience happen and engage the in-person audience with what's happening on stage and be part of that community rather than to be presented to. It's really much an engagement piece, and obviously then that extends out to the online audience as well. Teams or Zooms isn't quite doing it for a lot of the larger events. They want a full TV production, so when they're online looking at a conference on their office screen, they're remaining engaged in that rather than being distracted, going back into their inbox and doing their emails or working on some projects, building their own PowerPoint presentations when really they should be engaged in the live broadcast.
And I see more and more companies now are investing in broadcast studios within their own organisations. I'm hearing recently that some of the large accountancy firms are investing anything up to 1.5 million euros on such studios. Is that something that you're getting a demand from your own clients as well?
Absolutely. There's a request for tender sitting in my inbox at the moment from a large financial company as well, because people are seeing the power of engagement with their staff, and especially with the hybrid working model means that it's getting harder and harder to bring your people in regularly into the office for meetings, events. So it looks as if large corporations are mixing up between fully virtual presentations and then for some more key smaller meetings is they may bring them in person. But yes, more and more corporates are investing in internal studios to broadcast not only to their own people but to their own client base.
What advice have you got for any business owner listening this morning that's planning to invest in putting their own broadcast studio in place within their organisation?
I would say engage with experts. And traditionally when people look at investing in technology into their offices or venues is they may talk to architects and consultants in the building side of things first, but ultimately they should engage with providers who actually give this service. So an awful lot of people would invest in the technology infrastructure first and think about the services second, but you must bring a collaborative piece in with all stakeholders to ensure what you're doing in your studio is actually going to be practical and useful for the people who will be running that, and not just for today or tomorrow, for the next 3 to 5 years to justify your investment in the infrastructure.
AVCOM recently announced plans to double its turnover to 12.5 million euros by 2025. How do you plan to achieve this level of growth?
It is an ambitious target, but something we're very confident of. One thing is how we've strategized our business going forward and placed ourselves front and centre on the design and production side of events. But mostly we see that increase coming from the export market. Enterprise Ireland here in Ireland have helped us through the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic on how to position and pitch ourselves for international work. Traditionally in AVCOM, we have in the past gone as far west as San Francisco and as far east as Dubai doing global events, but generally we've done that as a reactionary where our clients have experienced our services in Dublin and have brought us worldwide with them, where now we're actually pitching and promoting ourselves at that level and placing ourselves with strategic partners around the UK and America to try and build on this business with the ultimate aim of opening offices in international markets.
In addition to the international opportunities, where do you see the opportunity here at home in Ireland?
It's really on the design side of A, the event business, but B, general design for corporations as well, as we're traditionally come from the event side of the business, but we do some great work on design and brand activations within those events. But we really see a market for the design end of things beyond just the event side of the business as we become trusted advisors to our clients. Also, the real growth area in our business is in video production. As you see, a lot more, not just events are going online, but a lot of marketing and communications is online as well. So we see a big growth in the video production side.
Of course, we're hearing lots from Meta and Apple about the growth in virtual and augmented reality. Both organisations have invested heavily in those technologies. Where's the opportunity for your company in that space?
That's actually huge, and it's something that I'm very much investigating now from an innovation piece. But as you say there, the big corporates are hedging all their bets on this side of the business. And that's really taken the fully virtual event experience that we all had during the pandemic, where one of the negative parts of it was very hard to connect and network on it. It was great for receiving information and giving some feedback, but the connection just wasn't there. And that's where the Metaverse is really going to step up and bridge that gap between the online world and the in-person environment. So that's something we're really keeping an eye on. We're talking to experts out there, because sometimes you may not be able to produce all these solutions in-house, but it's very important that you have good connections in the industry that we can bring these solutions to people. I was actually at a seminar in Orlando there about 2 or 3 weeks ago and listened to one of the big corporations talking about them hosting their first Metaverse event, which was really, really interesting, and some insightful tips on what worked well, what didn't work well, and what planning is involved with A, the content first, and then B, the logistics around delivering that between the in-person and the online environment.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Paul Murphy, the Managing Director of AVCOM, and we wish Paul and the team every success in reaching its growth goals.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.